Regardless of which headlights your Titan comes with, the Morimoto XB is compatible, and it's a huge upgrade over what comes on the Nissan from the factory. Regardless of which headlights your Titan comes with, the Morimoto XB is compatible, and it's a huge upgrade over what comes on the Nissan from the factory. This, for example, is the halogen and LED version. Up top you have an LED built into the projector, and for your high beam down below you have an old school halogen light bulb. The Morimoto XB takes that a step further, and it's completely LED. There are no old style dim yellow halogen bulbs in this housing. It's also completely maintenance free, it's DOT compliant, and has a 5-year warranty. The 4 LED projectors in the middle are what control your low beam and high beam, and in just a minute you're going to see how much better this is than what your truck has right now. The other cool thing is now you get a better daytime running light. The DRL on the Titan isn't bad, but on the XB headlight from Morimoto, it's better. You have a strip on the top of the projectors and a strip on the bottom. That's going to give you a dual intensity mode that is super bright white when you're driving around with your headlights off, and it will dim to 50% when you hit your headlights on. The total blackout look is accentuated by the bright amber turn signal at the bottom of the headlight. This thing can either run in a standard on-off blinking function or that animated sequential turn signal function that Morimoto is famous for and does better than anybody else. Because the Nissan Titan has factory LED low beam projector headlights, the beam pattern itself isn't that bad. That's what we're looking at here, but we're going to see exactly how much brighter the Morimoto XB headlights are by using a digital lux meter. You see, we test lux, not lumens, because lumens is a theoretical number. Lux is actual measurable brightness at a point in space. So we parked the truck at the exact same spot, shine it at the wall, use the meter to test brightness, and compare the percentage increase or decrease. In this example, your OEM LED Nissan Titan low beam comes in at 420 maximum lux, and this is what the beam pattern looks like. It's definitely not the worst beam pattern we've seen, but check out the Morimoto XB beam pattern instead. The biggest difference that you're going to see here is that cutoff line, a little bit more crisp of a color, and the brightness. It's not just brighter at the hot spot, the whole thing is brighter. The width that goes off to the sides is brighter. The middle, where the most intense part of the beam, is brighter. This thing comes in at 780 maximum lux, which is 85% brighter than your stock LED headlights. That's a huge improvement. Now let's go back to your stock LED Nissan headlights. This is what your headlights look like now when you turn on high beam. For some reason, the Titan headlight has an LED low beam and this halogen reflector high beam, and it only makes 760 maximum lux. Now you could swap out that halogen bulb for an LED if you wanted to, but the Morimoto LED headlights are an even better option yet. Coming in at 890 maximum lux, the high beam is only 17% brighter than stock, but that's still a pretty noticeable increase, probably more than an LED bulb. But my favorite part is the beam pattern. You get a lot more of that brightness higher up in the beam than you did with your stock headlights. The overall intensity of low beam and high beam combined is insane. On the back side of your original headlight, your halogen high beam is down here, and your LED low beam projector is up here. As you can see, there's no wires coming out, but they are here and up here. The other place that you can plug a wire into is the adjuster. This little motor is what you can control inside the cab of your truck to raise your beam up or down. On the back side of the Morimoto XB headlight, we have that same adjuster motor. Now, you can only use this if your truck had the factory LED headlights, because if you have the halogen headlights, you won't even have a wire for this. If you have the halogen headlights, the way to adjust your headlights is to put a screwdriver in here. So you can still adjust your headlights. It just depends on if your truck has the compatibility to use this motor or not. Don't worry about it. Everything else is super simple. You've got all the same mounting configuration points as your factory headlights and all the same wiring. So you can see that we have a little bit of a rat's nest back here, but it's not as bad as it looks. If you have the LED headlight, like what came on this truck from the factory, we're only going to use half this wiring anyway. So let's start if you have the halogen equipped headlight. That means you've got the old style halogen reflector low beam and old style halogen reflector high beam. you are in for a treat when you get these installed because the brightness is going to blow your mind. This first connector with 2 wires is your side marker. This is the exact same type of connector that's on your factory headlight. Plug in your original wiring to this. Then if we pick up this whole harness, I have 3 connectors you can plug in here and 1 you can plug in here. So these are your other 4 connectors. This oval shaped connector that's round on one side and flat on the other side is for your turn signal. This is the exact same connector that your factory headlights have. So just plug this in exactly where it came out. The next one is your low beam. If you have the halogen low beam, this 2-wire connector with the little pins on each side is going to be for your low beam. Then the one that looks kind of like it, but it's totally round. You see the difference? This one has tabs and this one doesn't. The one with tabs on the side is your low beam. The smooth connector is your high beam. And lastly, we have the daytime running light wire. If you have the halogen headlights from Nissan, your truck doesn't have a daytime running light, but we can add it. All you have to do is run a wire to the fuse box and connect it here. Now, if you have the LED headlights, like our truck has, you don't need most of these parts. This adapter comes in the box for anybody to use if they need it. But if you don't need it, the install is a little bit easier. In just a minute, we're going to show you how to do that during the install. If you have the LED headlights on your Titan, you're going to use these 3 connectors. Again, use your side marker, just like stock, your turn signal connector, just like stock, and this is going to do everything else. Low beam, high beam, and whatever's left. Lastly, when it comes to your turn signal, this is where it gets fun. You can either choose the scrolling sequential animated turn signal or the standard style blinking on and off turn signal. The way you choose the turn signal function you want is with this connector here. Unplug it or plug it in. That's how you control which type of turn signal function you get. Now Adam's going to show us how to go from old to new.
First step is to open the hood. Now we'll loosen up the grill. There are 6 clips in the front. Let's do that now. With the top of the grill loosened up, make sure to remove these clips and place them back into the grill, or else they will not reinstall. To get the grill off, I'll have to free these tabs on the bottom. Reach in and get the ones on each side, and then with the pry tool, pop the rest out as they're a little hard to see on camera. Now you can take off the grill and see the rest of the tabs that you need to remove. Now with the grill removed, we can move over to the fender liner. There are 2 Phillips screws that we have to remove. Let's do that now. Now with those screws out of the way, pull back the fender liner. There'll be 1 10mm bolt located right here. Let's remove it. Now let's repeat the same step for the other side. Now with the screws and bolts removed, we can pull apart this upper trim piece right here. There are a few clips holding in the upper part of the bumper on the top and bottom. To access those, we have to reach underneath the truck. Now we can remove the upper bumper and we'll set it off to the side. On to removing the headlight, there are 4 10mm bolts. If you have the truck with factory halogen lights, these are the plugs that you will have to remove. If you have an OEM LED truck, these are the connections you'll have to remove. Now that we have the headlights removed, the next step is to run the DRL harness. There's a fuse tap right here and 2 ends that go to each headlight. The black wire goes to the passenger side and the red one goes to the driver's side. I'll show you how to do that right now. Remove the fuse box cover, and on the inside, the fuse we'll need to remove is a 10 amp, second from the top. Press these 2 tabs along the side and slide up the fuse panel. Make sure you install the fuse tap into this location right here. Cover up the fuse box and run the connections to each side. Before we can install the new XB headlights, we'll need to transfer the top and bottom piece from our stock headlight. There will be 3 T25 torque screws on the bottom and the side piece. Now we can remove the second bracket. There's 3 T25 torque screws. Now we can transfer the new bracket to the new headlight housing. Make sure to pre-thread the screws into the bracket so it doesn't fall off. With that done, we can install our headlight. These will be the connections on your halogen truck. Make sure to run through all the functions of the headlight before you button everything back up. Make sure to tighten up any loose wiring so nothing hangs or gets snagged. If you have an OEM LED truck, these will be your connections, and make sure to also tidy up any loose wiring and make sure all your connections are plugged in properly. Do the same step for the other side.
What's not to love with the Morimoto XB headlights? Your Titan is going to be a completely different truck, and your nighttime driving experience will never be the same. If you want to learn about what you can do to your Titan besides headlights, go to headlightrevolution.com, put in your year, make, and model, and we'll show you what fits. If you want to learn more about lighting technology in general, or accent lights, interior lighting, reverse lights, go check out the other videos in our channel.